Hi, welcome to my latest video on the digital desktop that I've been developing for Peanut and Blue DV applications. I've designed the desktop because I wanted to try and incorporate all of the main elements that I use, controls of various types, trying to get everything into one interface. And I've added to it substantially since the last video that I uploaded. Okay, so firstly I'll run through the whole interface. So on the top left here you've got the microphone mute, which if you left click,
microphone activated,
and then left click again to reactivate it. You also probably saw there's an animation there to remind you the microphone is muted. Next to that you've got the volume control. If you hover over it and use the centre mouse wheel to scroll up and down, you can change the volume. If you right click it will mute, and you can probably see there that you've got a flashing red and green LED in the centre of the control there to remind you that it's muted. Right click again to unmute, and if you left click, we'll just wind the volume up a bit, but if you left click it will drop the volume back down to a preset level, lower level. Okay, so below that you've got an output switcher for output audio, speaker, headset, back to speaker again, and it remembers the volume that you left the speaker or the headset on. Okay, to the right here, just turn that off for a sec, to the right here you've got a clock. Below that you've got a VU meter, which as you see is a microphone level VU meter. It's moving with my voice, so I record the video. Below that you've got a QRZ lookup. Now the QRZ lookup works in conjunction with the web browser, which is this fourth tab along at the bottom here. So if I put in a call sign, I'll put my own in. Whoops. Put my own call sign in, and it goes to the browser, it looks up the QRZ page, and whilst I'm on the browser, I put a few other bookmarks in here. I'm using the Brave browser, especially for this interface. So I put in a few of my favourites, like a World Times site, a node map for that I particularly like for All Star. There's a D-Star lookup, and the hose line lookup for DMR, and a few other personal bookmarks. Okay, so that was a QRZ lookup. In the centre here there's a bar meter, which you won't see until it receives some audio, but you will see that's an RX audio indicator. So the right of which you've got online users. Now what this does, if I put I'll put a sort of generic call letter in like G and hit return. Again, it goes to the browser, but it's done a Peanut lookup, Peanut dashboard lookup under the letter G. So you see it's throwing up all call signs with a G in them. So that's the online users lookup. To the right here, you've got a volume mixer, 3 volumes, independent volumes for Peanut 1 and 2, because I'm running 2 instances of Peanut, which I'll show a little bit later on. Blue DV. And Rainmeter, which is the program that's behind it all. This level here, which I've set quite low at the moment, is a level whereby you can adjust all the various sort of clicks, or indeed turn them off if you don't want them, that you get the feedback on the interface. Right, so if you want to mute an application, just left click on it. So Peanut 1 is now muted and will remain so until you left click again. You can change the relative volumes mix applications by just hovering over one like Blue DV here and scrolling down or up to adjust their relevant volume levels. Okay, below that you've got what I've called the control panel. The screen magnifies quite simple. It just puts an overlay, the dimming overlay over the whole interface. So it's 2 levels. Left click, that's one level. Right click adds another level. If I right click and left click again, that's taken all the dimming off. Scan button here I should probably reallocate, because I've done the scan a little bit different, so I'll find another use for that. The VU meter light, the VU meters at the top here, I put a light effect overlay on. To toggle that on and off, you just left click on that button there and it's gone, you see. So it's gone completely till you left click again. Okay, below that, 3 more buttons. You've got Peanut Rooms, which operates in a similar way to the online users function, except this time it's going to search by rooms. Now if I left click on it, nothing obvious has happened until I go up the top here, and then I've got these 14 rooms that I've set up here, the icons, and as you see there's a tooltip below it just reminding you what room it is. So if you left click on one of these, I've chosen to go for yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so if I left click, it's gone to look up the English room, and go to the French room, and so on. Okay, so that's that's the Peanut Rooms lookup. And to toggle that off, you just left click again here, and it's gone. Okay, now something very new that I put in recently is this time zones map. So if I left click on there, it replaces this bottom window with a map of the world with time zones and some times around the world, and a preset list which you can edit in replaces one of the VU meters with I've chosen 6 different locations. Okay, now this is probably a good time to demonstrate another feature, which is I'm using another external program which I can enable with the control center mouse button, which I've just done. And you see it puts in at the top here a magnified view of what the whole interface, so whatever you're looking at, and you can change the zoom level of that. You can zoom in and out. I'm zooming in, as you see. I'm zooming out by holding down the control key and using center mouse wheel scrolling up and down. So that's quite useful. Again, going back to the browser where you've got text or anything you want to see a bit bigger. So that's the well, that was the time zones map I started off with, and I put in the magnifier, so I turned the magnifier off. This last button here reloads the VU meter. So this VU meter at the top here can get a little bit laggy on occasions, and if that happens, I think it might be doing it a bit now. If you left click on that where it says reload VU meter, it will just unload and reload the program very quickly to resolve that. Okay, the center window at the bottom here, the big window, that's using a program called Stardock Groupie. Now I've set up a group containing 4 programs, 2 Peanuts, Peanut 1 and 2 as I've called them, Blue DV, and lastly the web browser which you've seen. But if I just left click on this button here, there we go, that you can see these are the tabs as they appear in Groupie. But if I left click again, over the top of that I put my own menu bar, which is sort of bigger and brighter, so you can easily tell. I've also color coded the various programs, as you see. So if we look at one of the Peanuts, go to Peanut 1, I've added quite a bit to the Peanut interfaces of my own. First of all, of course, there's the coloured overlay. Now Peanut 1 is red, and if I go to Peanut 2, you'll see it's green. So it's not easy to confuse the two. I can make them any colour, my choosing. Okay, so here we go. So one of the big things that I've added recently are these 10 preset room presets, as I've called them, which you can think of like memories on the radio. So if you go to that one, photo chat, you see it's changed it. This interfaces directly with the Peanut code. So it's got the USA room there, you see Ireland. If I go to Peanut 2 and just change there, I've got to put that one on photo chat, just to go back to the Peanut 1, and it's still on Ireland, which is where I left it. Okay, so that's that. Another thing that I've added is this, just like there's a VU meter light for the main VU meters at the top there, I've added these independent lights for the VU meters in Peanut. So you can just left click and enable or disable that. Okay, each of these Peanuts, the 2 Peanuts, has its own PTT. And what I should do is I'll just pick a room very quickly, and if I key up with the Peanut here, the PTT here on Peanut 1, as you see, Okay, what it did, and I clicked again, left clicked again on the PTT to turn it off. It enabled a 2-minute 55-second countdown timer, which at the end of that 2 minutes 55 will just automatically dekey. 10 seconds before it, you will hear an audio beep just to let you know there's 10 seconds to go. And the PTT works exactly the same here on Peanut 2, as does the light. There we go. Now another feature that I put in is scan. There's 2 scan buttons, one on each Peanut. So whilst I'm in Peanut 2, if I just check on scan, yeah, you see I've got some channels in scan at the moment. If I left click on scan, oh, I know what it is. Okay, I need to turn it on there. There you go. It's toggling on and off the scan function. So that's the scan. There's the same function as I say in the other Peanut, Peanut 1. So I'll just go back to the other Peanut, and as I say, scan. There's a scan button in there, which is, as you see, turned on the scan. Left click again, turn off the scan, and so on. So there's a big scan button here, which is, I find, a little bit easier than the scan toggle switch there. And the PTT, as I say, now there's another way of triggering the PTT for Peanut 1, because I tend to use Peanut 2 for scanning mostly, but you can still use the PTT as you saw on it. I used this big PTT up on the left here, which is what I put in originally, and that does exactly the same thing, but it works in conjunction with this display here to the right. And now we're on Peanut 1, so I'll put it on Blue DB for a second, and I'll left click. Let me just check to see where it is on Peanut 1. Don't want it there. Let's put it somewhere else for a minute. And just go back to Blue DB so you can see it switch. Now, if you left click on that PTT, it will switch to Peanut 1. It will start again a 2-minute 55-second countdown timer. This display here where it says off air will flash on air. Below that you'll see the countdown digits in these boxes below here. 10 seconds before that timeout, you again get an audio beep, and the display behind these digits will turn red. Now that's I won't key up for the whole 2 minutes 55, but I will key up just briefly and then dekey again. You'll see it switch to Peanut 1. It will connect if Peanut 1 isn't connected. In fact, I don't know if the Peanut 1 is. No, it's off. Okay, so we'll put it back to there for a minute, and it will key up, and then I'll click again to dekey manually. So and you saw the countdown digits appear there, and exactly the same for the Blue DV PTT, except in this case it will switch to Blue DV, and it will key up, and it will there's not quite so sophisticated as the PTTs for Peanut, but I'll just check I'm checking to see what. No, it's not actually connected to anything, so that's fine. So that means I can key up for a little bit longer on there, but we'll just key up on the Blue DV PTT so you can see it switch and key up, and again there's the same countdown, same timeout timer, and these digits down here, but for Blue DV. So I'll left click, and left click again to dekey. Another thing I've done with Blue DV is, you see, I've made it blue, just like Peanut's red and the other Peanut is green. But another thing I've done with here is the fusion disable. Now normally you can enable fusion receive with the Control 1 key before the fusion button here actually will do anything. But what I've done is I put my own button below it here, which if I left click on it, has turned fusion on. So in other words, it's enabled it and turned it on. You can still turn it off here, toggle it there as much as you want, and if you left click again there, it will do the same. But that's a nice way, I think, of toggling it, enabling it and toggling it on. So in other words, say when you hit Control F, Control 1. So that's the Blue DV interface. I've also on these various peanuts and Blue DVs, particularly the Blue DV here, I've added my own lettering, white lettering in this case, against the blue to stand out for the serial DMR D Star Fusion options here. So I think that's it for Blue DV. I'll just go back to one of the peanuts, see if I've missed anything. So no, I think we covered it. There's the light, there's the scan, the PTT, and the room presets as I mentioned earlier. So you can go to USA 1. I think that's it. That's it. I can't think of anything else. If I've missed anything else, then I'll remember later on probably. But I think that's all the main features. There is another thing here on this button. It's very hard to move groupie because apart from anything else, I'm using a program to position it, which is again very important. Position its interface in the same position every time, its size and its size of the window, that is the peanut group, and also the position, XY position of where it is on the screen. But it's almost impossible to move it because I put this menu bar of my own over the top. But should it get moved, then right clicking on this button here will actually just reposition it back where it should be here. So that's the only other thing that I can think of. So I think that's it. I'll keep posting these videos from time to time as I put in new features, but I think I'm getting to a stage now I probably put in just about everything that I can think of that I want personally. I'm hoping that one day this will see the light of day, and that or maybe someone else wants to pick up the reins with this, and someone with better programming skills than I have, and I'll happily help all I can. My strength is more in graphics than it is in programming, but hopefully it's giving some ideas to somebody. So I wish everyone 7-3, and hope to hear from one of you in connection with this if you find it of interest. Bye for now.